Let's go. Welcome back to the Big Idea to Bestseller podcast. We got a best-selling author. We got a real estate guru. We got the man, the myth, Justin Baker in the house, best-selling author of Performance Unleashed, a guide to a thriving real estate business. Justin, what's going on, man?
Hey, how you doing? Excited to be with you. Thanks for having me on, Jake.
Dude, of course, man. Look, I'm excited to dig in for two reasons. One, I think you wrote a really great book, and I'm excited to hear where you're going to take this, okay? Because this book's good. And then second, I'm excited to actually learn about this topic because
Mhm.
a lot of the listeners on our show are entrepreneurial. A lot of them run their own businesses. A lot of them
Mhm.
are, in the corporate world looking to start their own thing and
Yeah.
transition out of the corporate world. And so I
hmm
think your book lends itself so beautifully to some of the people that are going to listen to the show. And so I'm going to ask some questions that are going to be pretty applicable, I think, to a lot of people. And I hope that you'll enjoy some of these.
Yeah,
So let's kick it off here with this.
absolutely.
Let's kick it off here with this, Justin. Performance Unleashed is the book. If you had to describe the book, a couple sentences so people understand why you did it, what it's all about, take it away.
Yeah, so it's about how you can enter into the real estate business and be successful. So throughout my coaching career, I was always trying to figure out why I was moving somebody forward on each coaching call versus somebody that may be stagnant. So I started
Mm,
to write down really these action steps or what they need to have, attributes or what they need to accomplish in order to be successful, and why one person would come and they kept building upon what we were coaching upon. And then another one would just be, oh my gosh, we couldn't get past it and we couldn't coach them, right? And so that's why one of the chapters, the first chapter, is really on being coachable.
yep. Yep. I love that. Talk me through this. Okay. Real estate is one of those things that is both everywhere in terms of
hmm
like social media, buy real estate, get involved
hmm
in real estate. But then it's
Yeah.
also like, well, there's a million different avenues to go into real estate. So
Yeah.
when you think of building a real estate business, where does somebody start? Is it buying a short-term rental? Is it becoming getting their do you suggest people become real estate agents?
Right.
Where's the starting place for someone whose
Right.
curiosity is piqued?
Right. So I think you're absolutely right. There's a lot of different avenues in which you can go in real estate, right? Residential, commercial, and then there's multiple areas within commercial. Then you can be an investor, and there's multiple ways in which you can be an investor. If you join a syndication group, if you go out and buy your own, if it's multifamily, single family, if it's commercial, if it's retail, industrial, it's a plethora of opportunities and options out there. So it really breaks down into, do you want to be a real estate agent or do you want to be an investor? Right? So those are the two real good pathways. If you want to be a real estate investor, it's not necessary that you become a real estate agent, and sometimes better off not to, because you don't have the liability of the transaction, depending on how many transactions you're going to do. Because if you study to be a real estate agent, you're gaining the knowledge of the legal side of the business, right? You have no knowledge and there's no training on what the actual business is, which is why the first chapter here is, why do realtors, why do 90% of realtors fail? Right? And one of them is, they had no idea what a realtor does. They just knew that Sally and Jesse, wow, they've got a great house and they drive a nice car. They don't realize they work 75 hours a week because they don't see that. They don't see the sacrifices they may need to make on the weekends for their children's football, soccer game, or practices at night. Because really, real estate is a game of the weekends and 5 to 9 on the weekdays.
Yeah. So how do you navigate that? Let's talk about that, right? You know, a lot of people love their families. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people need to provide for their families, right?
Mm-hmm.
And real estate's a great
Right.
option for a lot of people. How do you tell people to navigate um, the journey of the successful route with also what it takes to be there for your family and stuff when it comes to the 5 to 9 and the weekends?
Yeah, it's really having the right mindset coming into it and doing your due diligence and understanding if this is really the right career for you. Do you
Mhm.
have somebody that's going to take care of your children at night or on the weekends if you're a single parent? Do you have a supportive spouse or support from somebody else that may be a significant other or boyfriend or whatever there? So when you do have to go out and show houses or have appointments at night when other people don't work, which is nights and weekends, where's that support coming from? Right. So it's really about that and making sure that you're choosing the right career and you know what a realtor does. Before we dive in, we get licensed, we join a team, we join a brokerage, then we figure out, wow, we had no knowledge of marketing or in sales or in negotiations. We didn't know anything about a house. We didn't know anything about escrow and mortgages or contractual law, right? Or to handle my finances, because it really is an entrepreneurial type business. I own my own business and I run my own financing, right? We're doing everything. It's an all-encompassing business, even though there's a lot of shortcuts because there's templates and things that we can actually add on to our business that have been pre-done, right? So a lot of things that we can rip off and duplicate fairly easily of successful people. So going out and getting a book like this, reading it, or being on podcasts with real estate and understanding really the mindset and what's that schedule, what's my day-to-day activities and tasks as a real estate agent, and do those align with who I am and my personality profile.
Do you're a no nonsense guy, right? Your bio even says you're a no fluff guy, right?
Yeah.
How important when it comes to not just this, but when it comes to writing a book, when it comes to real estate business, when it comes to just any job that any person has, where do you put personal accountability and responsibility on a list of traits people need to be coachable and successful?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably number one, to tell you the truth. I mean, it's that accountability of myself, right? That's another reason, and why real estate agents fail is because we're not a good manager of ourself. Like, we've always been managed. We've always been given, here's my job description, here's my role, here's my manager. Guess what happens if I don't get it done? I get fired. So many times over the topics of coaching is, if you wouldn't have done this and you had these roles and responsibilities, as somebody that's an employee, if you didn't get those done, what would your manager say to you or your employer? Where would you be? Well, most of the time you'd be fired,
Yeah.
right? Which is probably why you typically are fired, because you're not having any closings or you don't have any money, right? Because we're not doing the activities that we need to do on a daily basis that so add up and compound so that we make money and we progress, right? So if we're not able to manage our time, which most of us can't, but we have to learn to, or we have to focus on it, and we have to really make sure that we hit those priorities, or we call daily wins or micro commitments every day, so that they do compound, but also so that we can win the day and have successes and like congratulate ourselves, because it's a lonely business unless you're on a team or you have a partner. Like, you're there doing it on your own, and you're prospecting, you're cold calling, or you're working with your SOI and trying to go on appointments. Like, you have to be in front of people, you have to be having conversations. Those conversations lead to appointments, and those appointments lead to closings and sales. So if you're not doing that on a daily basis, guess what? Time goes by rather quickly too. And if you're constantly putting them off every day, there goes a week.
Yeah.
There goes a month. Next thing you know, did you have 3 to 4 months of savings? Because a month just went by, and we know houses don't close the next day. It takes 30 days, typically a 90-day cycle, right? Whatever we start today, no one's buying and going out looking at homes tomorrow. And like, they might be a month, 60 days out if you're lucky, maybe even 6 months. So how many of those leads do we have to be prospecting to have in our database and warming them up and nurturing them so that when they do buy or sell, they use you as well? Because we all know, we all have somebody that's a realtor in our family or our friend group, right? And then everybody wants to be a realtor, and they all think it's really easy, but it's like that iceberg, right? We see the tip of the iceberg.
Yep.
We don't see everything else that's underneath it and behind the closed doors of what those successful people are, unless they open up that door
Yeah.
into the Pandora's box and say, hey, guess what? Here's what I'm doing. I've had plenty of agents that go out and they see somebody that's successful and they're like, I want to be like them. I want to join their team. Then they go in, they're like, holy crap, that dude is in the office at 6 and he's making cold calls from 6 to 10. Then he's going on appointments from 2 to 4 or 6. And then he's showing houses after that. I don't want to be like that guy.
Right.
Well, you wanted the Mercedes and the $1 million house, didn't you? Now you're not willing to put in the work to get there.
Yeah.
So you didn't know what it takes to be successful in real estate, right? And it's hard in any career, but a lot of other careers, kind of, you get to know, you have a progressive type of progression, you're progressing through as you start here and you go there and you get to see like the different levels, or you kind of know what you're going after. But as far as real estate and being a realtor, I believe it's one of the hardest careers, really, other than running your own business out there. It's one of the hardest careers you can have, because you really have to always kill what you eat, right? And it's you got to keep going.
You said quite a few things there that I was taking notes. I want to dig in, but one of the things that really strikes me as something that's an interesting thing that I think is important for everyone to understand here is you said something around like everybody knows a real estate agent, right? Every family or family adjacent, a friend, you know someone that's an agent, right? So
Mm-hmm.
one of the hardest things that people struggle with in business in general is differentiation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
what are your thoughts and how do you tell someone who's let's say breaking in this case specifically into the real estate, right? But they're competing with the friend's brother, the friend's cousin, the
Yeah.
friend of a
Well, this
friend
this
who knows
this
your
might be the
dad.
question at the end for people to get in touch with me because I don't want to give away the secret sauce. But you're correct. How do you differentiate yourself from the competition when you're a real estate agent or realtor? Because believe me, for the longest time, I had the thought process that I was a nickel in everybody's pocket. Everybody had a realtor, right? So one of those key questions is how do you make yourself stand apart? Right. And there's a lot of ways in which you can do that, but I have a couple that I really like to work with agents on because I've coached, and one time, it really hit me upside the head because I was working with one of the clients and I had him walk me through how he presents himself to a potential buyer that came from an open house. I said, what is it you do for this individual and how do you go through your buyer presentation? You know what he sounded like? He sounded like every other realtor out there.
Hmm.
And I was like, ooh, we need to change that.
Yeah. All right. So we're not going to get the secret sauce away. That's where people can buy your book. That's where people give you a call and they really
Yeah.
get the differentiation. I want
Yeah.
to go back to something else that you said that I found really fascinating. You mentioned daily wins and micro commitments. We were kind of
Yeah.
talking about that personal accountability.
Right.
What are some of the things that you do personally or that you coach people on that is around these daily habits or these
Sure.
daily things like let's pick two or three that you would recommend
Yeah.
people implement into their regular lives.
Well, it's fairly simple. If it's people in general or real estate agents, I think you're talking about more realtors, right? Real estate agents and
Yeah,
what they would do.
let's go with that, and then and then I'll take it whatever direction needs to be taken.
Yeah. So real estate agents really need to be focused on a few things, right? They need to be prospecting in order to get business, right? That prospecting comes from different lead sources. So they're going to be prospecting. The next thing that they want to do is be going on appointments. Well, having conversations, first of all, and then going on appointments. Those conversations lead to appointments. Appointments lead to contracts. So we prospect, we go on appointments, buyers, sellers, whatever the case may be, maybe just coffee appointments where we're talking about real estate, asking for referrals, right? Then it is writing contracts, negotiating contracts, and then attending the closing or handing over the keys, right? So that's really it. So in that, throughout your day, what are the 3 to 5 things that you want to do personalized, right? Depending on where you're at. Like not every real estate agent or team or brokerage is successful because they went one way,
Mm,
right? We have to work on what you have and what you're capable of and maybe your personality profile. I mean, we go with a DISC personality profile and I'm certified in that. And so if I'm a high I, which means I'm very personable and I love to talk and I'm the life of the party and this and that, do you think I want them on the phone calling all day and being told no? Because their one thing that they hate is negativity and no. So
mm.
what's better for them? We work in going on appointments, open house activities, right? Socializing, more social media. There's just a plethora of things that we can customize for you to be successful based upon what you like. Because the last thing I want to do is make you miserable in this business,
Yeah.
right? We didn't do that. We didn't come into this. Let's work around you, personalize it, make it fun. But we also know it's not always just fun. We have to do the work in order to get the results, right? So
Yeah.
it's not like we're only going to be focused on the fun, but we can customize and shift based upon what works for you.
You mentioned these like four or five things, right? And it's
Yeah.
funny because when I think about like when I was just reflecting for our Q4 planning and everything for this year, and I was like, I did a whole brain dump of everything that I
Mm,
could possibly do. And then
mm,
I boiled them down and they all
mm-hmm,
fit within one of four buckets, very
mm,
similar to the buckets you just described for realtors and
mm-hmm,
agents, which is prospecting. You got to figure out how to get in front of the leads. You need to have
mm-hmm,
the conversations to convert those leads. And
mm-hmm.
then in your case, you mentioned contracts, handing over the keys and whatnot
It's
for
closings. You
yeah,
close them. Yep.
closings. And
And
so
then you
for me,
work
it
the
was like,
contract,
yeah. And then
right?
I
And
was
then you
thinking,
close it out
and,
and you
and so
celebrate the win. Like,
exactly. And I was
I
thinking,
went
wow,
through the process with you, right?
that's so similar. And then I was thinking, you mentioned you mentioned the example of the guy prospecting in the morning, appointments in the afternoon, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm,
And I think that that's something that a lot of people don't pay attention to or don't ever think about in their own life. Because
mm-hmm,
if you're in the fitness world, you're probably going to be doing classes in the mornings and in the evenings because
mm-hmm,
people aren't at work, right? If
mm-hmm,
it all depends on what it is that you're doing and what it is that you aim to achieve. And so I think that it's so important for people when they look at their calendars, when they look at what they're trying to create, identify what are the times that the people actually need me for that particular industry?
Yeah.
What are the
Yeah.
times that the customers are available and where are they?
Right.
And then how do you build your calendar around that and also
Yep.
your key priorities?
Yeah, we're time blocking around the key priorities, right? And we have when we're coaching, we have the elite agent schedule. So an example of what your schedule can look like, and then you rip off and duplicate it. You just apply it to yours. So we go through that, or we highlight what it is that they want to, making sure those blocks are blocked out on their calendar. But guess what? Just because blocks are blocked out in our calendar doesn't mean we follow them.
Yeah.
Your calendar looks great. What did we do? Did we do it? No. Okay, how is it that we could make sure that that happens again? And now I'm going to go down the road of what is your why? Why is it that you're doing it? What do you want? And if that doesn't happen, what does it look like? Because we have to look at the pain versus the pleasure, and people move away from pain more than they move towards pleasure. So if we know the pain of not doing it is greater than any pleasure that I would get doing it, then we have a good why. And that's another thing, is a lot of people may not have a big enough why to be in the business, to get through the hurt, right? Because it's a struggle and it's a challenge and it's not fun for everybody. I don't know if maybe half the percent or 1% of the population may be like dialed in, or like, made for a realtor to be a real estate agent. Like, there's not a lot, because there's just like an entrepreneur, you know. Yeah, I want to be an entrepreneur and be my own boss, but holy moly, I actually have to do everything, and then I have to grow it, and then I
Yeah.
have to hire, and then I have to have employees and manage it. Let alone if you're in restaurants, right? Then you have the general public, and then you have food and inventory that expires, and you have food and health, like, that's the last. Sorry if you're listening, you own restaurants, but that's the last business I would want to be in.
Yeah, I got a handful of friends in the restaurant business. One on more of the fast casual side, and one on like the very high end side. And they're one of
Oh,
them
nice.
owns their own spot, and one of them is an incredible chef. And I always have these conversations with them because some of their things that they have to think about, I'm like, wow. As an entrepreneur building a book publishing company, I have it way easy. I don't have to
Yeah,
worry about food expiring, or there's no one
yeah.
coming to check in on me if I'm following the book publishing criteria. I don't get an A,
Protocols
B,
for
C, or D,
health
right?
regulation, and yeah.
There's no life or death regulations over here
Hmm.
that could shut me down just because somebody else saw something that they didn't like, right? Can I
Yeah,
get a bad review? Of course. Does that happen? Yeah, you can't please everybody in anything you ever do.
yeah.
But it's our job, and I want to tie this all together here. It's our job to take personal accountability for the life we want to create, the business we want to build, and the opportunities we want to have in our life. And so
Hmm.
when you look at this, your book's Performance Unleashed, and I want to take it out of real estate for a second. I want to go to just true performance. If
Hmm.
someone's like, Justin, you're firing me up, man. You're firing me up.
Hmm.
I need to unlock my performance. I need to unleash my highest level of possibility, reach my full potential. Is
Yeah.
there any direct questions or action items that you would suggest somebody take to really break free of that next level?
First of all, what's holding you back?
Mm. So
So what's
asking
holding you
that.
back? If you're not reaching your potential, what's holding you back? What is it that you've tried that you haven't had success at?
Mm.
You know, like, and is your current environment where you spend the most of your time, whether it's work or family, set up for the best?
Yeah.
Are you giving 100% in everything that you have? What we do
Mm.
in the small things shows up in the large things. So what is it that we're doing that may not be working as well? What is it that we need to stop continuing to do and add in something that we may be doing? Or is there something we need to turn up the volume on? Right.
Yeah.
And it really comes down to who's in your corner, coaching you and consulting you. Right. And then if you are a coach or consultant, some of us and some people have always had a little bit of negativity because we believe we need to have more experience than who we're coaching. Right. And then they don't fulfill that role, and they don't fit in. They feel like they don't fit the mold. Right. They think of like, oh, I need to be better. I need to do more than that person that I'm coaching. Well, that's not the case, because who coached Tiger Woods? Who coached Michael Jordan? Who coaches the top tennis players in the world? Were they better? Did they do more than them? Were they more experienced? Absolutely not. But you know what? If you do have a coach, it should, more than likely, it's going to catapult you into a new atmosphere that you didn't maybe think that you're going in, and you're going to improve upon either areas of life or you're going to improve upon areas of your business, right? And it depends on which one you really want to improve. If it's improving your life, more than likely it's probably going to improve your business as well. And then if you're improving your business, it might improve your life because then you have more money and you can take vacations or do more for your family. Once again, it comes down into that balance. There's not a lot of balance in entrepreneurship. There's more like counterbalance, right? We're either super busy and we're doing a ton or we're missing a lot. And then we tend to have some, and then we're like, okay, now I have a lot more time and I'm going to step away and I'm going to really dedicate my time and focus and energy into my family and my personal life. Or you could be one where you're just kind of like, you're the average guy and you're hitting what you need to hit, right? And that's good because I had that balance with my life and with my business, and that's awesome too. So really not having a specific avatar that is a good coaching client is always fun too, because we meet them where they're at and work with them on their skill set and what they need to improve to either become a better real estate agent, or become a better team leader, or build, recruit, and become a broker, whatever that looks like for them. We can work with them on that.
Yeah, yeah, that's good stuff, man. The question that you asked in response to my question was, what's holding you back? That's a great starting place, because I think, I'm guilty of this. I'm always looking for the forward thing, right? I'm always looking for the forward thing, the next thing. And then it's like, wait a sec. So, as a go person, sometimes I got to just sit and reflect and ask myself kind of like, well, why haven't I done it? What's actually stopping me? Because more times than not, it's not my skill set. Right? It's more times than not. It's not the thing that you often think. You don't need more strategy. You don't need more tactics more often than not. You more so just need to have the right mindset around that specific issue that you may be having. Right. And so,
you may need to focus more on less than more. I think if you go to the DISC personality profile test and you're a high D like I am, or I was coaching one, it's always like nothing's ever good enough and we're always trying to do more.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, step back. What are you grateful for?
Yep.
What if you did really well? Where are you compared to last year or 3 months ago?
Yeah.
Let's celebrate those, because we need to stay in that frame of mind to understand maybe where we need to go as well. Because if we're constantly pushing and constantly changing, then we're probably doing too much. So then it's like, we need to slow down in order to speed up. I use that phrase. Let's slow down in order to speed up, because we need to plan maybe a little bit more, think about where it is that we need to. It's like anything, if it's in golf, like in your coaching, or if you're just looking at your business and something's wrong with your swing, right? And you go to a golf coach and he's looking at it and he's like, oh, okay, well, oh, I see that, take another swing. Oh, great. Like, oh, well, just move your pinky a little bit instead of this, do that. And whack, you hit it right down the middle. Well, you just paid whatever, $100 for that small little tip. But people would be like, oh man, $100, I'm not paying that. Well, you just hit the ball down the middle now and it's going straight and you just improved your score. Is that what you wanted and needed? Yeah, it's not worth it. Don't worry about the price, worry about the results. Yeah. Right. And so in order to slow down to speed up, we may need to come back and plan a little bit and think about our life and have gratitude, and then focus in on those 3 to 5 things that could be your daily wins. Or if you're following, we tend to follow EOS, which is the book Traction, and the EOS Entrepreneurial Operating System. So what are your rocks for the quarter, and not trying to do too much in that quarter. There's a reason why there's 3 to 5 rocks in a quarter. Yeah. So you stay on track, right? And you focus on those and you accomplish those. And growth is fast, but also can seem slow. Yeah. Right? You can really exponentially grow on small things versus always thinking about the next big thing that we need to do.
Yeah. When I used to do something with a group called NBA Summer League, which is like a big NBA event in the summertime for all the young rookies, second year and third year players for the most part. And one of my mentors who was there, he had this whole thing, and he didn't create it, but this was one of the mottos that we focused on, which is 1% better every day, right? 1% better. And this is what you're talking about, right? You talk about these daily wins, you talk about what you got to be grateful for. And it was this 1% better. And then I started to dig into that a little bit more.
It's actually impossible pretty much, because if you're 1% better every day, that in 100 days, you're supposed to be 100% better.
Yeah. It's the study.
It's the concept.
It's the concept. Right. But then James Clear in Atomic Habits had a chart on this. And it was like, if you became 1% better every day for a year, you're 37 times greater at the end of the year than you were at the beginning of the year. Now, obviously, you can interpret that how you want to interpret it, but the point is small improvements over time create massive change, right? And so when you talk about these, you've mentioned daily wins and celebration a little bit. And so I'd be curious for you. Do you have a practice where you're doing daily wins? Do you have a practice where you're spending time reflecting on the celebration and the accomplishments along the way? Do you do it daily, weekly, monthly? How does that play into your
Personally, I
personal
do
life?
not because I'm director of operations for an organization and things get thrown at me and there's never a day that looks the same. I'm overseeing a lot of, the marketing, the sales, the operations, the staff, events that we have coming up and, a subscription based model. So I'm doing a lot that gets thrown at me. So my days I'm accomplished, like I feel accomplished. But when you're in real estate, the importance of that came in. And I wish I would have known this when my first year, I'm 24, 25, right? And I got guys that are out selling and doing stuff. And they had asked me, I don't know if they're being smart asses or what, but did you sell a house today? I'm like, if I sold a house myself every single day, I would not be in this office. Like I would be up in my multi-million dollar house on the hill and
Sure.
overlooking and on my laptop at the pool. We don't sell a house a day, right? Unless you're, I mean, even a team leader, they don't sell a house a day. If they are selling one house a day, it's because of other people on their team that are helping them and assisting them. No, there's no one individual agent that does that. So every day I was like, I really felt bad because I'm like, what did I do today? Like at the end of the day, right? If I would have known, like, oh, let's just have 3 to 5 things that we fit within our schedule, and we know if we do those 3 to 5 things, we're winning the day. We win the day, we win the days, we win the week, we win the weeks, we win the month, blah blah blah, quarter, year, right? Those are the small little habits, and they add up and compound. The compound effect is a simple book by Darren Hardy, right? That talks about that. It's just do the simple things, the little things, hold yourself accountable to that, put them in your schedule, make sure they're done. And by the end of the day, can you celebrate those wins? Because we do not sell a house a day, but maybe it was to get one appointment a day and we got the appointment,
Yeah.
right? Or maybe it was to contact and talk to 15 people and we did that. It
Mm.
was to do one open house activity to get prepared for the weekend. It was to do one social video post a day, right? So what are these little things that we can celebrate? So it's not like we're thinking about, oh my gosh, we got to sell a house every day or we got to sell a house this week. That will come if we do what we need to do in the
Yeah.
beginning and lay the foundation. Once we build the foundation, we can work upon where we put the frames and the drywall and the
Yeah.
rafters and then the roof.
Yep, yep. I love it, man. So look, as we kind of get ready to wrap up here, like how do we follow along your journey? Obviously, you're passionate about this. Obviously, you're knowledgeable about this stuff. Obviously, you do the stuff that you talk about in the book. How do we get the book? How do we follow along with you?
Well, thanks to you, right? We've got it on Amazon. So if we go to Amazon, we search in the title Performance Unleashed, it pops up right there. You can follow me. I'm on Instagram. I'm not the greatest at Facebook and social media because I took on a director of operations role and I've been busy doing that. I've actually just kind of picked up with some more videos here lately because personally I'm like, you see a lot of idiots out there that are, they're more
Yeah.
ego and pompous based. I'm not. I just want to make sure that, hey, I'm giving valuable information out there and people are liking it. That's my goal. It's not to, brag and do a video with my Lamborghini behind me or my whatever G-Wagon, and stuff like that. That's not me. It's just like, hey, let's make sure we're presenting the right information and it's valuable for you and the consumer real estate agent. So this book can actually be good for any type of business, but more specifically for somebody that's looking to become a real estate agent or they're new in the business, or even if you're a team leader, pick it up, give it a read, give me a review. I'd love to have that. So Amazon.com, right? Go there, Performance Unleashed. And then, you can look for me on social media, but I would love for you to reach out to me and text me if you want, 480-330-7426, and ask me, how should you differentiate yourself as a real estate agent? And I'll give you at least one tip that I have for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I'm going to give, at the end of these episodes, I like to give a challenge. I'm going to give a two-part challenge today. Challenge
Yeah,
number one is, if you vibe with Justin stuff, shoot him that text. Okay. We'll get that linked up here in the notes so you can see the number that he wants you to text him at. And,
perfect.
and, and that would be challenge part A, right? Just taking that
Mhm.
small action. Challenge part B, though, is this is all about unleashing your performance, right? And whether or not you're trying to start a real estate business or whether or not you're growing a business, whether or not you're just trying to write the book and you're trying to get to that next level, the challenge from today is to ask yourself the question, what's holding you back? What's holding you back? And when you do that, combined with the first part of this challenge, you're going to be able to differentiate yourself. You're going to be able to know where you want to go. You're going to know what's stopping you. And you're going to be able to know exactly what you got to do to have that success. So my man,
Yeah.
Justin, this has been a pleasure, dude. Thanks for coming on
Right
the show.
on. Goes by fast.
It
I
does.
appreciate
It
you,
does,
man. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. So thank you all for tuning in and checking out the no nonsense, no fluff guy and my man, Justin Baker, best-selling author of the book Performance Unleashed, A Guide to a Thriving Real Estate Business. Make sure to go check him out, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Right on, brother. See ya.